Hello and welcome to the second video in this series about how to make something, how to share something, and how, hopefully, maybe, sell something too. I am the inventor of these little things. These are 3D printed interactive mixtapes, and I want to build a community around them as well as try and sell them, and I'm going to use these cassette tapes as an example throughout this video series. So what are these? Well, if you don't already know, go back and watch the first video, but basically they're interactive 3D printed mixtapes where you tap with a phone and they will bring up a mixtape like so. Okay, to play with, and they're coded in a very clever way, but go back and have a look. So you have a project that you want to share online, you want to show off and showcase it. You need a website, but you don't know whether this project's going to be worth it, whether it's a flash in the pan. You don't really want to spend a lot of money on it, do you? So I think we can look at alternatives to that. We can look at free methods of hosting a website using Google Drive, and then discuss other options on top of that. But I think it's important just to get something out there to start with. You could spend a lifetime perfecting a website, redesigning it, tweaking it. It's ongoing forever and ever. So I think the main takeaway from this video is, let's just get something up and running. Let's get your product, your invention, your idea just out into the world. And we'll take a look now how we can host things using Google Drive and how we can avoid spending a lot of money on hosting costs for a project that might not even take off. Okay, so let's begin. Okay, so to get this project off the ground, I'm going to need 2 web pages that are externally hosted. So what I mean by that is that the pages aren't saved on my computer. Here on my desk, they are actually stored on a server somewhere, so anyone can access them. So here is my first page, and this is the page that gets called up when the 3D printed cassette tape gets tapped with a phone. As you can see, it's not displaying a playlist because a playlist seed number hasn't been entered yet. And I go into seeds, playlist seeds in the previous video, so you can see how it all works. On top of that, I've got the main page. Now, I don't think it has to be terribly glamorous. It just has to be something to get you up and running to start with, and then you can spend a lifetime tweaking the websites to make them look better over time. But I think it's really important not to try and make something perfect first time. It's important just to make something and get something up and running. So here's mine. Very, very simple. I used ChatGPT a couple of times to add a bit of an effect, like the disco reflections from a disco ball in the background, that sort of thing. This was inspired by a recent concert I went to in the O2. I went to see Pulp actually at the O2, and at the halftime interval, I've never seen so many people, 20,000 people packed into one place, and they had this massive disco ball and the effect of the reflected dots going around the stadium. Well, it was unbelievable. So that's where I got inspiration from, this moving background here. But yeah, this is the page. It's got everything on, a little intro, a little video to demonstrate the product, and options to purchase, a one-off purchase of a cassette tape, but also the option to subscribe, so you people can get a monthly cassette tape sent to them. But also, I thought it'd be fun to link to my vinyl shop as well at the bottom. So how do we go about hosting this for a minimal or no cost at all? There is a way to do it, and I'm going to show you now. Now, this is just one way of being able to host a web page for free. Okay, there are services and places out there that will offer free hosting, but I find it very clunky and not very reliable. So this is a really cool way of doing it, and I've done it many times, and it's using Google Drive to host a web page, which, yeah, sounds as cool as it actually is, really. So what you need to do, you need to create a folder in your Google Drive, and in this folder is where all my images that you saw from my website. I've got my index.html file there, which is the main website. I've got the mixtape web page there that gets called up when each cassette tape gets scanned, and I've got all the images there, like I said. Okay, so if we go back to my drive, now the trick here is you need to share or grant public access to this particular folder, and all you need to do is right click and share, click on the share option, and you just need to make sure that anyone can see, anyone can access it or see the contents of that folder with the link. Once you've enabled that, click done, and you're halfway there already. Okay, so what's the next step? Well, next step is basically using a website service that links everything up. It connects all the dots together, and you want to hunt out a website called Drive to Web. So it's drv.tw is the web address, Drive to Web. And what this does, it will provide you with a temporary URL, or a URL that links to that shared folder. So you can either host a website using Google Drive, which is what we're going to be doing, or you can host, alternatively, you can host one using OneDrive. I'm just going to click on Google Drive. It will allow you to log in. So just bear with me 1 second while I log in and grant permissions to that website. There we go. And it'll give you an admin panel, and here we are. Look, we can see all the web pages that are in that folder that we can grant access to. We can actually give a name to our site as well, so your URL will be whatever name you give it, .on.drv.tw. Okay, it's not the most prettiest URL, but it's enough to get you up and running. Like so. So if I was to click on here, for example, let's go with mixtape, it will then pull up the hosted page. Now that's obviously an older page than what I showed you because I'm currently working on it. Like I said, it's a lifetime's work updating and making websites look pretty all the time. But yeah, what you want to find is the Drive to Web website, which will allow you to link a URL, a web address, to that shared folder on your Google Drive. Now, I appreciate this doesn't look very professional, but as I said at the beginning, it's important to get something in place to get things up and running. And what you can do, you can purchase a URL. So maybe I'm going to purchase like Mixtape Exchange or something like that, Mixtapes R Us or whatever. And you can forward that URL to this hosting URL in the background, and people will be none the wiser. So it is fairly cheap just to buy the URL. It gets expensive when you have to buy the hosting for it as well, somewhere to store and host all your pages and content. But by hosting it on Google Drive and using Drive to Web and forwarding a URL to these hosted Drive to Web URLs, you can sort of navigate that hurdle and save a bit of money when you're just starting out. So yeah, Google Drive to host, Drive to Web to give you a hosted URL so people can access it over the internet. And if you wanted to take it a step further, purchase a nice URL that forwards onto these hosted URLs here. Hope that all makes sense. So there you have it. It's quite useful, isn't it? Quite clever. I've used it many a time. Many of my projects just don't stick. So rather than me forking out a lot of money for hosting each time, I sort of go down the Google Drive route with Drive to Web. And on the odd occasion, should something get a little bit of traction, but I'm still not sure, then I'd purchase a nice looking URL web address. But anyway, I hope you found this useful. What's next, or what's coming further down the line with these things? Well, we need to look at payment. How when we do decide to sell something, how does a customer pay? And as I want to create a subscription service around these, so every month club members, Mix Club members, get a specially curated mixtape through the post every month. What platforms would be best for that? So that's what I'll be discussing in the next video, and I'm currently looking at again, free or very, very low cost ways in which that can be done. So like and subscribe, stay tuned, and let's explore payments and subscriptions together in the next video. But anyway, hope you found this hosting video useful. See you in the next one. Bye bye.